Just welcome to the Dutchman's Wood Shack. I'm going to be doing some turning today, so I thought maybe you guys wanted to see what kind of a mess I can make. I don't know, this camera, I might have to do it sideways, I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to try and do a finial for millennial. All right. So here's what I'm going to do. Hang on a second here. Okay, I believe this is Hawaiian wood. And I forgot what kind of wood it is. Anyway, I got it from Hawaii. So, first off, yeah, I got the right side in here. All right. I tied a knot in this thing, and I can't get it undone. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and do a finial. Now, this is actually wider than one and the other, so it's going to take a little bit of time to do this, but, well, we'll see what I can come up with. So, today, I wanted to show you guys this. I don't know what happened to them all. I have all these pictures of tools. I gotta make that thing deeper for some reason. It's just not. Okay, so maybe I don't have it up there. Yeah. So thought I had it in there somewhere. Yeah. I have a book on tools. So anyway, I got this thing set kind of to where I want it. And I'm going to use this tool here. Now I'm going to make a bunch of finials. I've been making, so if you see something you like, it's for sale. Okay, so I made 3 of these. Although this one I think I'm going to turn into a magnifying glass holder, if I can find it, handle. I just finished this one, and I was going to take and put some stain on there. I don't know yet. I don't know. I put a little stain on here. I'm just fooling around, seeing what kind of designs I can come up with. So. And just so you guys think that I can just think when you think I turned to something small, this is like a 5/8 by 5/8 piece of wood. I could turn something out of that. My club, my woodworking club, challenged me to do stuff all the time. So Marie, which she's in there, she really does a great job. Now, there are people online that are better than me. I just do what I got to do. I haven't turned a bowl in a while because I haven't sold any. So, anyway, couple of things I want to do before ahead of time. Now, I use different tools in here. The main 3 that I use the most: this one, and this one. So those are my 3 tools. Some people ask me why I don't use a bowl gouge or a rough gouge. Well, they're kind of big, and I've used them, but they're cumbersome, and I don't think I need them in something like this big. it does chip out with softer wood. And that's the other thing, depending on what you're going to make, softer woods make a difference in how you do this, how you approach this. So what I'm going to do is I am going to try and start it. I broke the other one. I don't know how it broke. I'm going to try and start out with this one and see what I'm talking about. So this is a bowl rough gouge. Now see, it's probably not sharp anymore, but these things are dull. I don't like to use them. The one I do use the most, though, is this. Now, what I'm gonna, oh, not that one. Oops. This one. Or that one. Actually, I could use this one. The difference is I don't want to leave a lot of gouges, and since I'm taking corners off, I don't want to rip the corners. Now, the one thing you want to be careful of is chipping out or gouging, and it'll do that with this. So, the one thing I like to use the most is this one, and I'll show you why. You see how it would bounce around wood? Now, if you notice it's bouncing around a lot, that's because it's oddball shaped. So, and you're going to get that. The idea is to keep control of your instrument. I'm going to sound like a professor. Always have control of your instrument. I got to fix that. Of your instrument. Never let it get out of control. You have it at a 0025.0. It's no. I knew a guy like that. This is my electronics teacher, Danublo. Anybody that went to school with me knows who John Danublo was. Great instructor. But it was in high school. Anyway, my college professor was really good. Joe Randolph, God rest his soul. Great guy. He was my natural resources professor. He was a great guy. Learned a lot of stuff from that guy. Kind of like I did when I trades with another guy. So anyway, what I'm doing here is just trying to take my time going back and forth. Now, technically, you're supposed to just kind of slide with it a little bit, put your body into it, but I don't have a lot of pressure on it because one is you don't need to if you got sharp tools. If you have sharp tools, I gotta say, if you have sharp tools, you shouldn't have any problem going back and forth. The second you have to start forcing it is not good because it's kind of a safety hazard. You push too much on it, you could break this. This thing can come off and hit you in the face. That's why I wear a shield. That's why you always wear a face shield. Some guys, the new system has a mask on, and I should have a mask on too. But I'm just going to show you right off the bat what kind of stuff I'm doing here. It's getting there. And I think I could probably be a little higher. That's another thing. Is I have this thing set at a certain pitch. Pitch, pitch and roll, pitch and roll. Kind of like pitch and yaw. Yeah. Okay, so now I got it down cylindrical shape. It's a really, really big top Dutchman's wood shack. I got a friend of mine, Derek. He does this show that's on this other radio station. It's called Big Top Sports. And I'm always giving him something. You got to change it to the really, really, really big top sports. Make it sound like it's in a circus big top. Anyway, so I've got this down to where I want it size-wise. Now, the idea is to shape it the way you want. Now, do I have a preference? And do I have instructions? Do I have paperwork to back us up? No, it's all in my head. But if you do it enough times, you kind of get used to that. You know what you're doing, and you kind of feel it out. I do the same thing with this as I do with my bowls. I feel it out because I don't know what kind of wood, what can be in the wood. There's a lot of imperfections in wood when you turn it, so you got to be careful. Okay, so hang on here. I'm gonna grab something real quick. Okay, so I've accumulated number of things in here. When I had a group in another woodworking club, I had different ideas on how to use, how to do wood. Bowl finishes. I just had to show you this one here. one of my projects. Now, when I started working on this project, it was a mess. Okay, I don't know if I have. Yeah. Okay, so this, I rebuilt this thing from scratch. I mean, it was in pieces. Pretty much most of it was there. 90 some odd percent of it was there. So I lucked out. But that is a 19 or 1890s armoire. That's a Eastland armoire. Now the thing that is missing over here is the mirror, but I chose not to, and it was missing the granite. And there was a lady at Windmill Countertops. She gave me this for nothing, so it worked out. But the wood grain that was in it was awesome. Okay, so I love finding things like this. It's a treasure. And of course, the wife has got it. It's in the front. It's in the room where we. So this is me working on it. I got it all in pieces, sanding it all down, and I got it. I keep thinking this was like cedar in here. I'm not sure if that was cedar or not. But it turned out to be really good. Okay, so that was there, and I got the black and whites too. So I had all the hardware except for these two. Now I've got I have the inside. I have the locks in there, but yeah, pretty much it. So that was a fun project. I had to show you that. That was one of my favorite projects. Now, see, a lot of the guys use different tools. Now, I'm actually thinking about making my own handles and getting somebody to redo make my old handles and then have somebody build me a set of steel gouges. But there's a lot of stuff out here. I don't have this. I don't have the spear point. I do have enough, scrapers and spindle gouges. There's different kinds of scrapers on spindle gouges. There's a ton of them. So it depends on what you want. But the spindle roughing gouge is what I got. Traditional U-shaped bowl gouge. That's 5/8. That's the one I have that I showed you. That I kind of don't like using. Skew chisels. That's what this is. It's a skew chisel. I use it, but I haven't been using it on this that much. I get the round 1-inch round nose chisel. That works great. That's what this one is. Anyway, I used the round nose chisel a lot. The skew is so because I'm doing little grooves in it. People say, "Oh, you can use it." Well, you probably could. This would work just as well, probably, as this. The problem is, I like a narrower point. So this is where just using your tools, figuring out your tools and where they should go, what to use them on, that works out great. See, most of the tools I have, like the CI5s, I have all three of the CI5s here. The Pro Series works out great. I love them. Especially the bowl gouge one. The deep one is I use a lot of the there's pros and cons about using those too. So over the traditional, um, that's where you've got to be skilled in both to understand how things work. Where your limit is now. See, here's a bowl. A guy can go in, right? You're not supposed to go in with that. You can't get in there with that. So you use the easy hollower one to do it and get down there far enough. Then I use a different, this is what you're supposed to be using, the hollower two and the hollower three. Then that's what these three are, is these three. You don't want to use that to get too far in there because you'll break the top off. And there isn't, on the hollow number one, there is a limit to how far you can go. You got to kind of play with it. It's hard for me to explain this. You got to see when I do it. I haven't done any bowls in a while. I've just been doing other things. So, anyway, if you guys ever want a list, if anybody wants to know about this as a newbies, I got a list. I'll print it out and put it on here if you guys want. Okay, so I wanted to throw a couple of things at you. Now, this is the reason why I use these tools the way I do. Okay, so spindle gouge, the skew chisel. I don't use the spindle gouge as much because it's too rough. And they say that the skew chisel is hard to use. No, I don't think so. So if I can use, anybody is. But like the finisher, I use the finisher a lot more than anything else. All right. So here, my big thing is, know your wood too. Now, my background's in forestry and natural resources, so I know trees. It does help me to a point. I'm limited to that, but it gives me an idea of the difference between soft and hardwoods. I prefer hardwoods because they don't chip out as much. You got to be a little bit more easy on your tools. This is where you have to have sharp tools to make it work right. This tool here is starting to get a little bit dull. I can feel it, but it'll do with this. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start out creating my tool. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. If you ever get to the point and you're new at this, you don't want to, you can make a handle of this. Go get the ice cream scoop, buy it, or pizza cutter or cheese grater head, and you can make your own handles with it. And that's the easiest thing to do right now. Or pins. You can do pins. The problem with the pins is you have to change that and that out. And you have to have the setup for it, which is an added whatever cost to it. But it is fun. Now, I'm starting out, that's kind of what I use when I'm doing this. Now, I'm starting out trying to carve this. Now, this is where you have to have an idea in size. Now, I work on model trains. I've got an N gauge, which is narrow gauge, second smallest train you can get. There's Z gauge, there's N gauge, there's HO, and there's O, and there's G, and anyway, when it comes down to working with small stuff, you kind of get used to doing things in dimensional. Now, you could do your own dimensional work and figure it out. Um, but I kind of do it. I've I've done it enough times when I do it. I feel by how I do things. So now this is where if you want to use a skew chisel, you can use it. Okay. So what I like to do, and it actually works out good. Now one of my friends tells me I'm using it the wrong way, and this is the way I've always done it. So now with the skew chisel, I can smooth it out more. I love using it for something like that. It's great work. It's good for bigger things. If you want to get into smaller things, it's kind of hard to do because it's so wide, it's so big. It's a kind of a touchy thing. You don't want to bind it. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is my next victim. I got to put another ring on here, but I'm going to go a little bit further. Now, as you can see, this one's bigger than that. This one is bigger than that. So what do I do? Oops, wrong one. I use this one. Okay, so people ask me, well, this one, I don't know what kind of tool this is. I use it to make Christmas trees. It's getting kind of dull. We'll see how this works. I got to get closer. I gotta get closer. So you can make these things. You get a steel rod and just carve it into what you want it. Now that turned out really nice. That's about equal to that. And it's a little bit wider this way. So you want reveal, you want a good look to it. Again, that's up to you and what your design taste would be. Now remember too, as you're working this, leave yourself some room for the end part because I'm working out the spindle. What I'll probably do is put this inside a chuck and feather it out. I can only go down so far with it. This unfortunately, this little spindle on the end here, it doesn't have a point, so to speak, like the other ones where they're more narrow. I can't. This is an old one, so basically I'd have to replace this whole part. So I plan on doing it eventually. Now, see that chipped out a little bit there. So I can't really use it for anything. So what I'm going to do is I flatten it out. I'm going to use this. Now, if this thing is dull, this will show up. I did get new teeth on it, new carbide tips, so I could do resin work with it. So. Yeah, it's dull. Yeah, I can feel it. So, I'm going to use this one instead. Now you see when you're feeling it, you're seeing it wobble a little bit more. So this is where you got to use the smaller tools and not put as much pressure on it. Now, what I'm probably going to do now is I'm probably going to sand this a little bit and get it smoother. Now, if there's cobbiness in here from your tools, there's a way to get it out of it. I usually use 80 to 100 grit to kind of even it out. And then you got to know that you got a tool sharpening tool. Now you see how I curved that and being gentle and barely touching it. So, oh, bitchin' looking. No. Ooh, okay, so now what I want to use, I'll show you this. Now this is always handy to use. I have this that goes from 150 all the way to 600 grit, and most of the time I use one. I don't like to go too much lower than 150 unless there's a lot of gouges. You can use belt sander belts too, by the way. So, oh, I love the smell of sawdust. All day. No. I'm going to take a line off Apocalypse Now. Oh, I love the smell of napalm first thing in the morning. How about, I love the smell of burnt sawdust. Or burnt wood in this case. Now, if you want to get exotic, you could be really fancy and do segmented stuff, which I'll do next. I'll do that next time. Or next time on this old house, I'll show you how to screw up a piece of wood. They still have that show on. Well, I tell you, I did meet Bob Vila on several occasions. Well, the wife worked for Sears. All right, so Bob Vila was sponsored by Sears. This old house used to be sponsored. They actually had, Sears was in conjunction with that Ty Pennington guy doing remodeling houses in a week or something, I forget. Remember, move that bus. Yeah. Ty Pennington was a designer. He's still doing stuff out there. But there's a lot of great guys. Well, my own friend Rob North, he has a TV show he's doing. He travels all over the world doing stuff. So if you look him up, Rob North. I call him the Magnificent Rob North. The Magnificent Professional. Actually, he taught me how to do this, or showed me how to do this, as he said. We were doing Craftsman vacation stuff together, and it was pretty fun. I don't know if they do that anymore with the new Craftsman thing. The old Craftsman shows I used to do, the demos and stuff, it was fun. It was fun. But man, Sears spent a lot of money on that Craftsman stuff. Oh. That's where this came from. That's what got me started, boys. I'm addicted. Like a beaver. I'm like a beaver. I'm always trying to be a 10 up somewhere. Ha, 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 ha. You could never make enough sawdust. Okay, so now that I sanded that down kind of a little bit, you look at it, see if there's any imperfections in it, and you go, pretty good. That's pretty good. I don't know if that's cold wood or not. What was it? Monkey. It might be monkey, not monkey pod. Mango wood, or here. I can't remember. It's Hawaiian wood. I just forget what it is. Now, I need to fix this thing. Somehow this got bent. We'll see how it lines up now. Maybe it won't. Maybe it won't do it. Part of the problem with these chucks, or this one anyway, I need to get the Nova truck. This is a Barracuda too. It's a pain in the butt. For some reason, it just doesn't grab. And I think I bent one of the teeth in it anyways. Yeah, so you can see it. It's bent upwards. See that? That's a no-brainer. See that right there? So I got to fix that somehow. Don't know how. I don't wonder if I could pound it. I don't know. Well, that works. Put it in the vise. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this off. And I'll move that over here. And I'm going to take this off. Lock it in, lock it in. Yeah, I'm gonna that's another one of those things. See, when you get one of these things, you gotta buy tool after tool after, you know what I mean? You don't know what I got until it's gone. Doom. What's the name of that song? And this thing's sticking a little bit, so. Binding. I cut the ties that bind me. The Lucy Ricardo show, remember? Lucy, Ricky, Lucy, Ricky. Now, I like to line it up here. Line it up here, like that. And then I tighten this down. That's so it stays. Let's see. That working? No. For some reason, it doesn't seem like it's fitting right there. I'll have to take that apart. Okay, so now this one's too big. Too big, so we'll put this one on. All right. Okay, so now the object of the game here is to get it down. Get it down. Wish me luck. Now I've got it about as far as I'm going to go for carving it. So what I'm going to do next is take this back off. Now you do have sanding tools you can use on this. Yeah, I was using sanding tools earlier on my workbench, but now, I will say this is much easier on your hands doing this stuff, because what happens is when I'm doing a bowl, when you're bowl gouging like this all heats up here. It's like you want to put duct tape. And that turned out perfect. Turned out perfect the way I wanted it. Now, one thing I got to do that I want to change a little bit, and I've been told this by people who like what I, how I do and I don't know if I'm going to put those on there, but now I've got to move it out further. This is where I need to make it a jig for this adapter, because you don't want to split this thing either. So when you get to this point, I want to be able to shove the nose of whatever I'm working on inside a foam rub pad or something, so that I can finish out what I'm doing. So you got to be very, very careful now. This is where you don't want to put a lot of pressure on. Pressure, pressure. Just like that. Now this one I'll probably put something other than that in there. But now this is where you want to go over it with 320, because you don't want to put too many gouges in it. Or do gouges. Be very careful. Very careful. Very careful. Now this thing doesn't want to stay in there, right? So I'm basically done with that part anyways. So this thing is still screwed up. I have to take and figure out what's wrong with it. But anyway, I was going to cut this off with, I just basically put it on the, what do you call it? The vise, I can't remember. Then I could put this on the drill press over here and take care of that. But here you go. Another one of these. Now this is a simple project. Didn't take me long. How many? With 51 minutes. But you could make these probably in a half an hour. 15 minutes to a half an hour. You know, if you got something down, once you start doing it, I can actually do a pen in 10 minutes. Okay, so, but I mean, it's the challenge with a pen is trying to get it centered to the hole, right, you know, all that kind of stuff. Marie taught me this from my club. So anyway, I'm going to go take and work on this a little bit, and maybe I'll do some grinding on here. I don't know yet. Anyway, I want to thank you guys for watching the Dutchman's Wood Shack, coming up on 52, 53 minutes. And I do appreciate you guys. Questions or comments are always welcome. Again, I'm always looking for suggestions. Yes and no, if you like it. If in any way I help you out and get you enthusiastic about doing stuff like this, that's great. I'm doing my job. So I do sell these if anybody's interested. Hit me up. Questions are, like I say, questions or comments are always taken. Guys, have a great New Year's. Happy 2026 coming into it. And I wish you all the best. And like I always say, if you're not making anything, you're not making sawdust, get with the program. Thanks again for watching Dutchman TV.